ביאור משנה ג', explanation for משנה ג'. היסודות ההלכתיים של משנתנו והמשניות הבאות הם כדלהלן. In order to understand this Mishnah and the following Mishnahs, we need to understand these things that we're going to learn now. New things. New things. Number one. כל הדברים שהם אסורים משום שבות, all the things that are forbidden because of shvut, we're going to explain. Shvut are, for example, moving objects. Moving objects, the rabbi said you don't move an object, right, in a Carmelit. Oh. The Torah, that's for example a shvut.
Oh,
yeah, shvita, yeah. Don't all the things that are forbidden because of shvut, לא גזרו עליהם בערב שבת בין השמשות. ערב שבת between the shmashot, which means you're not sure it's Shabbat or not, there's no decree on those things. In other words, it still can do it. That's right. כך סובר רבי במחלוקתו עם חכמים. Now, we don't hold this way because it's today we're going to be machmir on it. Yeah? We don't. Once the 18 minutes is up, the 18 minutes is up. Bias. Yeah, but so maybe if you do it, if you did it, you're not going to get lashes or you're not going to get there. But we don't. There's no reason to do it. Yeah, there's no reason for you to do it. So כך סובר רבי מחלוקי חכמים. This is what Rabbi thinks in the sages. וההלכה כמותו, and the halacha is like Rabbi, that you actually know שבוס בין השמשות. כלומר שאינם אסורים אלא בשבת עצמה. Then only prohibited on Shabbos itself. אבל בין השמשות מותרים הם. But between השמשות they are permitted. ברם אין השבות מותרת בין השמשות אלא לצורך מצווה. But even Rabbi says the fact that they tell you it is permitted, it's only when you're going to do a commandment with it, a mitzvah. Yeah? So if you can't do it just to clean your house, whatever.
Yeah, let's say you forgot your pot, I don't know, not put it, or you need to move
that
it.
Your pot,
then you wouldn't have food. Maybe it's permitted.
Maybe it's permitted. Very good.
Something
yeah,
like
exactly, for Shabbos. ברם אין השבות שמותרת בין השמשות אלא לצורך מצווה. It's only permitted for a commandment, או משום דוחק, or because of דוחק, whatever דוחק means.
Honest.
No, דוחק is different than honest. Yeah, דוחק means like.
It's less than honest.
Yeah.
I see.
I'm not quite sure what the circumstance is, so I want to talk about it right now. That's the first rule. The second rule, אין מערבים עירובי תחומים אלא לדבר מצווה. The only reason you're going to do an Eruv Tchumim, it's between the two cities, the only reason you're allowed to do it is not because you want to visit your friend on Shabbat. That you're not allowed to do. It's only if your friend, if you're a Moed, for example, and they need you there to do a bris, then you keep your stuff in the other guy's stuff. You're not going to carry, obviously, but you need to get there.
What if I want to daven in his shul?
If you don't have a shul,
I have a shul, but I want to daven in the other shul. It's better.
Not allowed.
More people.
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
I don't think so. I don't think it's called a mitzvah. Okay. If you don't have a minyan, I don't think that's a mitzvah either. There's no mitzvah to daven with a minyan. Yeah, there's no mitzvah to daven in the shul. Maybe Rosh Hashanah you want to hear the shofar, for example. That's an example. That's an example. Rosh Hashanah.
Even two shofars there, you can go there.
That's right. Rosh Hashanah you want to hear the shofar. That's a good example. But just davening is not a good example. Okay? So only for a mitzvah you're allowed to do it. Gimel, שעת קניית העירוב הוא בערב שבת בין השמשות. It says this whole thing, the two towns become together when ערב Shabbat, when the sun during that time, which means now that if you put it on a Thursday and an animal came on Thursday night and ate it, you have no Eruv. You have to be careful. Yeah, you have to put it in a place that you know it's going to remain there. And Dalet, but you don't care after Shabbat came in. After Shabbat came in,
the animal
can eat it. After Shabbat, that's right. After Shabbat, the animal can eat it. In Shabbat, the animal can eat it.
Okay.
Yeah. Dalet, המערב עירוב תחומים, the one who does the עירוב תחומים, צריך שיהיה הוא ועירובו במקום אחד. He and the Eruv needs to be in one place. What does it mean it needs to be placed? If he is in this town, and there's another town over here, and he wants to connect these two towns, and he makes an Eruv in between the two towns, so now the two towns are connected. But before Shabbat, he went from this town and he moved to another village over here. Now he doesn't have an Eruv anymore. He needs to be connected. The person who put the Eruv needs to be connected between the two places. He needs to be in a place where he can get to the Eruv. If he cannot get to the Eruv, he's not out. כלומר, שיכול לאכול את מזון עירובו בין השמשות במקום שכאלה שבו פה. In other words, בין השמשות, when it comes in, he needs to be able to go and eat. He needs to be able to go and eat there.
Well, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to, but he has to have the ability to. Okay, now we can start. נתנו את העירוב באילן. He climbed up and he doesn't want to put it on the ground because the squirrels or whatever, the animals, the ants are going to eat it. So he climbed on a tree and he put the Eruv up on a tree. העומד ברשות הרבים. The tree is in the public domain. ורחבו 4 על 4 טפחים או יותר. And his width is 4 on 4 טפחים או יותר. למעלה מ10 טפחים. And he put it above 10 טפחים. שדינו שם כרשות היחיד. That over there, below 4 טפחים, it's considered to be public domain.
4 or 10?
Below 10. Below 10.
Below 10.
It's considered to be public domain. That's why he put it above to make it a private domain. אין עירובו עירוב. It's not called an עירוב. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שנתכוות לשבות מתחת לאילן ברשות הרבים. He meant, what did the guy mean? He meant it's a good place to stay, under the tree, nice in the shade, it's a nice tree, I'm going to sit over here and eat it. וכיוון שנתבו את עירובו באילן למעלה ברשות היחיד, but he did not put it in the public domain. He put it in the private domain. Above 10 טפחים is not public domain anymore. נמצא שאין הוא ועירובו במקום אחד. So he and his Eruv are not in one place. שהרי בשעת קניית העירוב, because at the time that Shabbos came in, שהוא בין השמשות, that is right in between the 20 minutes before Shabbos, לא יוכל להוריד את העירוב מן האילן. He's not allowed to take the עירוב down. שהוא רשות היחיד, because then he's going to take from רשות היחיד to the public domain, למקום שביתתו. שהוא רשות הרבים כדי לא לחלוש שם. הילקח אינו ריבו עירובו. He didn't, in other words, he didn't put it in the public domain. He put it in some private domain that he's not allowed to do it. So therefore he's not. What happens if you put it in a tree למטה מ10 טפחים? What happens if you put it below 10 טפחים? אבל אם נתן את העירוב באילן למטה מ10 טפחים, in below the 10 טפחים, עירובו עירוב, because he did put it in the public domain and he's allowed to reach it. שלמטה מ10 באילן דינו ככרמלית. Okay. So now we have a, I think what he's going to go to, he's going to, are you allowed to take something from a tree and to put it on the ground in a regular Shabbat? So I don't think you're allowed to. If it's on a tree, I don't think you're allowed to put it on the ground. But over here, this is in Isur Shvut. You remember what we said? It's in Isur Shvut. The Chachamim said not to do that. So it's over say. So over here it says, I know you're not allowed to, but because you're not going to do it, actually, it's just there is a symbol, we're going to let you. I think that's what the idea is. Ben hashmashot, in other words, you would be allowed to do it. Okay. And that's when it counted. As long as it was there, ben hashmashot,
that you can
do it.
After Shabbos
we don't care anymore.
Yeah.
If you go there, you wouldn't be allowed to do it on Shabbos. Yeah. But since Ben Hashmashot, you would have been allowed to do it, and that's when it catches, then we're going to consider. Because of the shvut, that's right. והרי איסור או הצעה מכרמלות לרשות הרבים אינה אלא איסור שבות. And the taking out from the Carmelit to the public domain it's only because shvut, it's Carmelit. היינו מדברי סופרים, it is from the rabbis. וכיוון שכל דבר שהוא משום שבות לא גזרו עליו בין השמשות במקום מצווה, and since this is a mitzvah, and there's no decree on shvut when it comes to a mitzvah, כמו שהקדמנו לעיל, like we said above, נמצא שהוא ועירובו במקום אחד. We find that they are in the same place. They're not really in the same place, but theoretically they're in the same place. שכן בשעת קניית העירוב בין השמשות, because at that time, 20 minutes before Shabbat, Theoretically, he's able to take it down. On Shabbat, he's not allowed to. But בין השמשות he is allowed to. יכול הוא להוריד את עירובו מן האילן למקום שביתתו כדי לא אכלו שם. He's allowed to take it down from the אילן in order to eat there. ואף על פי שהוא משתמש באילן, and even though he's using באילן, הרי אף איסור זה אינו מלמדים סופרים. Even that prohibition is only from the rabbis, it's not from the Torah. ולא גזרו עליו בין השמשות, and the rabbis did not decree on taking something from a tree down between the שמשות. הילקח עירובו עירובו. Therefore the Eruv is good. Next one. נתנו בבור. He put it inside a pit. And the pit is Carmelit. שהוא בכרמלית. No. The בור I think is more than 10 טפחים. More than 10 טפחים the בור is. The pit is more than 10 טפחים. רשות היחיד. רשות היחיד. But the בקעה is not רשות הרבים, it's כרמלית. שהוא בכרמלית. In other words, it's שבות. Again, it's שבות. כגון בבקעה, ונתכוון לשבות בבקעה, and he meant to use this valley for Shabbat, to camp over there. אפילו עמוק הבור 100 אמה, even if the pit is 100 amos deep, והרי הוא רשות היחיד, so obviously this is a private domain, עירובו עירוב, it's still considered עירוב. Why? Because when בין השמשות came around, you would be allowed to take from the private domain to the public domain because of שבות again. עירובו עירוב, you have an עירוב, מהטעם שביארנו לעיל, from the reason we explained above, שהואיל ואיסור ההוצאה מרשות היחיד לכרמלות אינו אלא איסור שבות, since the taking out from the private domain to the Carmelit is only איסור שבות, וכל דבר שהוא משום שבות לא גזרו עליו בין השמשות, and everything that is שבות we don't decree on it between השמשות, נמצא שהוא ועירובו במקום אחד. We find that him and his Eruv are in one place. שהרי בשעת קניית העירוב שהוא בין השמשות, because at the time of the עירוב that is בין השמשות, יכול הוא להוציא את עירובו מן הבור כדי לאכלו במקום שביתו בכרמלית. He is allowed to take it from the tree in order to eat it in the Carmelit. But maybe now we're going to see the difference. נתנו את העירוב בראש הקנה ובראש הקונדס. They gave the עירוב in a big pole that was standing. The important pole, I think, the important thing over here is that it doesn't have 4-on-4, which means that it's not standing on a רשות היחיד. It's not considered רשות היחיד over there, it's a כרמלית. Yeah? בזמן שהוא תלוש, שהקנה תלוש מן הקרקע ונעוץ בקרקע ברשות הרבים. So it's stuck in the ground. So there's a pole stuck in the ground, אפילו גבוה מהאמה, even if it is 100 אמה tall, הואיל ואין במקום הנחת העירוב 4 על 4 טפחים, since there is no 4-on-4, הרי זה עירוב. We are going to say that this is עירוב, because it's connected to the ground, it never went out of רשות היחיד. רשות הרבים, or כרמלית, whatever you want to call it. It's still sitting on רשות הרבים because there's no רשות היחיד. The tree was wide enough. Yeah, the tree was wide enough to be a private domain. This is not wide enough to be private domain, so it's still sitting on the Carmelit. שאינם רשות היחיד, מותר להוריד משם את העירוב למקום שביתתו שהוא ברשות הרבים. You're allowed to take it down to the public domain. אבל אם הם מחוברים לקרקע, but if they are connected to the ground, for example on a tree, that's connected to the ground, אינו עירוב. It's not an עירוב. לפי שאסרו חכמים ליטול משם את העירוב גזרה שמה יקצוץ את ראש הקנה או ראש הקונדל בשעה שיטול את העירוב. או שמה יתלשם. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. If it's on a tree, the rabbis are afraid if we let you do this, you might take the fruit also. That's the difference. That's the difference. There's nothing to do. You're not afraid of anything. What are you afraid of? Yeah. שיחשוב שנעוצים הם ואינם מחוברים. He's going to think that they are not connected. וכשבן שגזרה זו היא משום איסור מלאכה של תורה. It's not שבות. It's because of מלאכה of Torah. Af ben hashmashot asur. So the difference you're not allowed to take from the tree wasn't what we thought.
Yeah.
The difference you're not allowed to take because they're afraid if we let you take this, you'll take the fruit also, or you'll take a leaf, or you'll take something else. That's why in a tree it's different. Yeah. In other words, it's not a decree of shvut, it's a decree of a proper job. Yeah. This is you're going over a halacha from the Torah, not a halacha of the rabbis.
It's almost like you're telling you don't climb a tree on Shabbos.
That's right, that's exactly the same thing. Very good. So that's the difference between the two. You see, next time we should ask the question. Going. We should ask the question in the end, not in the middle. ונמצא שאין הוא ועירובו במקום חווה. It was a very good question. נתנו את העירוב במגדל. He put it in a chest. ועבד המפתח. And then before Shabbos, he doesn't know where the key is. Yeah, in other words, on Shabbos, Moshe is not allowed to open the chest. שנעל את המגדל ועבד מפתחו. He locked the מגדל and he lost the key. אם אפשר להוציא את העירוב מן המגדל בין השמשות גם בלי מפתח, if you can take out the food out of this chest without a key, כגון שהמנעול קשור בחבלים ואפשר לחתוך אותם בסכין, for example you can cut it with a knife, שהואילו מקלקלים בחתיכת החבלים, אין כאן אלא איסור שבות. Over here we say the rabbi says you're not allowed to build on Shabbat, but you're allowed to destroy on Shabbat. You're allowed to, as long as you're not destroying to build. Over here you're not destroying to build, you're destroying to destroy. So this is only a decree from the rabbis, so therefore since you can break it, you're allowed. שהואילו מקלקלים בחתיכת החבלים, אין כאן אלא איסור שבות, ולא גזרו עליו בין השמשות. And there's no decree between the שמשות. הרי זה עירוב, so even though you don't have the key, you can break the whole thing apart, you're good. It's considered to be עירוב. שהרי הוא ועירובו במקום אחד, because he and his Eruv is in one place, מאחר שיכול לחתוך את החבלים, because he can cut the ropes, בשעת קניית העירוב ולהוציא עירובו מן המגדל. And to take out the עירוב from the מגדל. רבי אליעזר אומר, רבי אליעזר says, אם אינו יודע שהמפתח במקומו, if he doesn't know that the key is in the right place, ויש לחשוש שעבד ולא ימצאנו, and he's afraid that the key is lost and he's not going to find it, אינו עירוב. It is not an עירוב. Why? שסובר רבי אליעזר disagree, he says, אין כלי ניטל אלא לצורך תשמישו. It says you're allowed to take a tool only for its use. ואסור לטלטל את הסכין. And over here, how are you going to take the knife out into the courtyard? You're allowed to. כדי לחתוך את החבלים, שאין משתמשים בסכין בשבת אלא לחתוך באוכלין. We already discussed the rules of Shabbat. A סכין is muktzeh from the rabbis. It's a muktzeh, you can only use it for food. You're not allowed to use it for any other thing, only אוכל נפש. וכיוון שיש כאן שני איסורי שבת, and Rabbi Eliezer says over here you have two prohibitions. Which are the two prohibitions? Carrying the knife and cutting the ropes. אף בין השמשות גזרו עליהם, because it's two prohibitions. The rabbi says when it comes to two, we're only allowed to go against one shvut, not against two. מכאן שאי אפשר להוציא את העירוב בלי מפתח. Therefore you cannot take this food out without the key, so therefore you don't have access to the food. It's on an עירוב. ונמצא שאין הוא ועירובו במקום אחד. It says you don't have the ability to access your food. הילקח אין אלוכה עירוב, it's not called the עירוב, ואין הלכה כרבי אליעזר. We say the halacha is not like Rabbi Eliezer, that we do say shvut even on two things. יש תמהים שהרי גם ברשע, this is your question, Aryeh. This is your question exactly. יש תמהים, there are those who think, שהרי גם ברשע, כשנתן את העירוב באילן למטה מעשרה טפחים, no, it's a different question, sorry. That when he gave the Eruv in an ilan, below, in a tree, below 10 טפחים, יש שני איסורי שבות. Also over there, there's two שבות. What? איסור הוצאה מקרמלית לרשות הרבים, the prohibition of taking from Carmelit to the public domain, ואיסור שימוש באילן, and the prohibition of using the ilan. You still use the prohibition. So how come Rabbi Eliezer agrees with the first. He should agree with this. He should disagree over here. We should hear him disagreeing with the first part of the Mishnah. So Baal Tiferet Israel meyashev tmiya zo. So Baal Tiferet Israel says, I'll explain to you why Rabbi Eliezer doesn't argue over here. Why? Sheken shoneh hadavar b'reisha, because it's different. What's with all these flies lately? Yeah. Sheken shoneh hadavar b'reisha, because it's different in the reisha. לפי שאינו מתחייב על השימוש באילן משום שהוציא בכרמלית לרשות הרבים. Because he is not obligated on using the ilan because he took out from Carmelit into the public domain. ולא על הוצאה, and not on taking out. משום שהמשתמש באילן, because of using the tree. וכיוון שאינו עובר על שני האיסורים ברגע אחד, it says he's not doing it at the same time. It's in two different times. There's a split second between them. It says where there's a split he's going against this one, and then again he's going against, but he's going one at a time. Yeah? In other words, when you take out the object from the tree, you did one melacha, and then you put it on the ground, you did the second melacha, but it's two different things.
Two different things.
Yeah. It's two different times, not two different things. נמצא שכל איסור ואיסור נעשה לחוד לצורך מצווה. There are two different prohibitions
but they're all made for mitzvah.
Yeah, of course. ולא גזרו עליו בין השמשות, ולא גזרו עליו בין השמשות. And they didn't decree this between מה שאין כן בסיפה. It says it's not, in the end it's not this, it's at the same time you're cutting the rope. In other words, in the first one, you don't need to do both of them. I can give you circumstances where you can just do one without the other. But over here, in the case with the rope, if you want to cut the rope, you have to carry the knife.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference. ששני האיסורים תלויים בזה בזה. It says with the knife, you have to. In order to cut the rope, you have to do the other one. שהואיל ולוקח את הסכין בשביל לחתוך החבלים, says, since you're taking the knife in order to cut the ropes, אף לקיחת הסכין איסור שבות הוא. So also the taking of this knife, it is a שבות. והרי זה כאילו עובר עליהם בבת אחת. We consider it like you are transgressing both at the same time. הילקח בחירון זה סובר רבי אליעזר גזרו עליהם אף בשם שבות. This is why Rabbi Eliezer says, is only arguing about the last part of the Mishnah and not about the Carmelit part of the Mishnah when it's below 10 tefachim with the tree.